So hi everybody and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 23 and in this video we will create a gameplay widget. But let's go first to the overview. So here is our overview. We've finished this one. We are still in gameplay. Gameplay is a big section and there is much to do. And yeah, in gameplay, we will do what? This is our gameplay section. We finished level design. We created a player character. We created an obstacle. We created already the spawner. And now we are here in this block for the gameplay widget. So we concentrate on gameplay widget on this video, but actually we have two parts here. One is the gameplay widget design, and one is the gameplay widget coding, because this gameplay widget will be big and we will not finish all because this gameplay widget has also something later we need to include, of course, gameplay coding to this widget as well. So that's a big topic here, gameplay widget. At least we need 2 videos here. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, so what we will do in this video is something like this. I show you this, I start. So you can see I created here a very cheap widget here, a score system, which is counting our score. And here I have set up some default values. Here we have a live, very simple made, so later you should design this a little bit better, of course. And this high score we will not set up in this one, but we make the design now. All right, that's this thing. And now how we set this up, let me see what I have here. Okay, we need a gameplay setup a little bit. What I have here, main menu, I need probably this one. I don't know, I don't need this one. So let's get started. First of all, we jump to our folder. In our folder, we have already created this UI folder, which is user interface. And in this user interface, we have already created the main menu. Let's create now a new widget, and it's in the wrong folder in my case. Not in main menu, I need here a new folder. And I call this here gameplay, because this is now the gameplay widget. And here in this gameplay widget we will create our gameplay widget. Accidentally I created here, that's no problem, this is anyway just a reference. So let's create it one. Right click here, and here you go to user interface again, and then here in user interface we go to widget blueprint, and here we use the user widget here on top. Let's use it, and I call this widget blueprint BP, so WBP for our prefix, and then the widget name, and very simple, gameplay. It's for the gameplay, so I call it gameplay, and I open this one up, and you can see it has nothing in it. And I will use this one here as a reference, which means now we set up just the design here, what we did here so far. So let's, I will not design it perfect. What I mean with that perfect is I will not adjust it. I will only show what you have to do, and this adjustments you make on your own, and I make it offline so I don't waste time. So first of all, we start here in our widget blueprint, which we just created. We have here this section, and you can see here is no canvas. I need a canvas, so I go here to the left side here in the hierarchy, and I click here. Nothing here actually. Here is just the start point, but you can see here is no canvas. So that's why I go here on top, and here on the search bar you can write canvas. For example, canvas, and there is a canvas panel. You just drop this canvas panel to the hierarchy here, and we have a canvas. This canvas panel you can adjust to your needs. I just keep here the default setting because I think that will fit. If not, I will change it, but right now it's okay. Then I remove my text here, so I have all options again, and let's see what I need here. So I will try something like that. Let's add here some a button here, a text here, and here different things. Let's start with the button step by step. Here on the left side, I go here to the section. You can write button, but in common section, you can see here is already a button here. So I select just this button. The anchor is on the left side. That's okay. I make this so perhaps like I said, I will not make this one perfect. Now I just point it here and hope it works. If not, then not. Later we can adjust it. So This is just a button, and a button has the functionality so that you can click on it. So like in my game, you can see when I start, I can click on it, and when I click on it, it pauses the game. It pops up this window, this menu here in the middle, and then I can continue, click again, or I can quit. All right, this is the simple functionality which we are going to set up in this version. Of course, it's not the final setup because we needed to add perhaps other things like save game and something like that as well, because when we quit the game we want perhaps save our score and add to the high score and something like that. But this kind of stuff we do in gameplay section of coding, not in coding of creating of design and coding widget here. All right, with that said, I have added now this button and I make some styling things. You can go here, select the button first. Of course, you can rename this button as well. Let's rename this because that's very important as well. Here I select the button, I press F2 to rename it, and let's call this btn for button prefix underscore, and let's say pause menu. Pause, or just pause, because when I click on it, it paused the game. All right, that's it. For the naming, then it is selected as a variable, which means it's all time accessible here in the graph when I switch. That's okay. And now I go here, select again the button, and here in style, I go to normal. I open this one up, and here I can add a button image, for example, if you want. And I have this image already created when I created my first widget, this main menu. I use it here as well. And here is the image, and what you have to do is probably set a color, perhaps later. Where is the tint here? Here is the tint. Let's set this color. It's okay. And one more thing, it's annoying, but I will not make it now. You can set it probably to hovered and pressed. When you are using mobile, you don't have hovered probably, then you have only pressed. But here as a desktop version, we have hovered and pressed. You can set this probably, but I just copy now this one and don't waste time. I set this later. So this kind of stuff here, you will do later probably. You can see, let me show you this. When I start the game, you can see we can't see anything here when I hover it because I have not set it. But here I set it up a little bit better. When I hover it, it changed a little bit the color, and when I press it, it changed again the color. And the same thing you do with this button here later when you optimize it. But right now we skip this part when we go on. All right, so I made now, let's go here. I made my first button, and now I need, of course, do a little bit more here. The first thing is probably the next thing is not the first thing. The next thing is here just a text. Let me see this one here as well. I just take it here, and here I just take a text, and perhaps I just copy this one from here. You can see what I'm doing next is just you go here to this text here, throw it in, and then write a default value here, for example 1000, something like that. And then you optimize this a little bit. Let's see. What I mean with optimize is you anchor it. You go here. You can see when I click the text, the anchor here, this white thing here looks like a flower or something like that. You can set this anchor here to the middle, for example, then adjust this one, then set here the text perhaps in the middle, justify it. So when you go here in the options, here is the justification. We can set this to this one, set a little bit. Oops, let's scale this a little bit bigger perhaps, and let's resize the text itself. There is a resize font. You can set this one a little bit higher. Let's set it, for example, 30. It's too less, 40. Yes, we can keep 40 here. And here you can change as well the color. Let's set it, for example, this one. And I think that's okay for our score. It's very simple, but that's okay working. Next step is we are going to create this kind of stuff here. This is just when I click on it, you can see it here on the right side, a horizontal box with a image and a text block. And let's do this fast. So I need first a horizontal box. I go here on the right side. And here, by the way, I forgot again here, rename this text name perhaps. First of all, rename it and call it score. So this is our score text. But you can also write here perhaps a prefix text if you want, underscore score, something like that, or what you want. And then one more thing, we need this score text, I think, as a variable. So here on the right side in details, here on top, when you click here this checkbox, this one becomes a variable. Variable means it is accessible here in the graph section. This one is now accessible. If you don't do this, for example, if I click this away and I switch here, you can see it's not here. So that's why we have to set this, because we want to use it and set our score later, or make a functionality where our score is going up. So let's set this a variable, compile, save. Now later we will program this in the programming section, not in this video, in the next video. Right, we set this up, and let's go to the next part, which is, what is the next part here? Like I said, we need here this setup. This setup is just a horizontal box, image, and a text block. So let's make this one also. Let's write some common things you find here. For example, the horizontal box should be here because it's many times used, but it's not. But it's many times used normally. Horizontal box here, you can get it here. You can scale it. I scale it just randomly. And here's the anchor again. I anchor it here on the right side. So I go here on anchor here on the right side, here on top, and then I make it here on the right side. And then, like I said before, I need the next thing is an image and a text. And you can see images here and text is here as well. Here's the image, I throw it in. Here is the text, I throw it in. And you can see these are now in my where is this horizontal box, which is here. Let's name this horizontal box as well. Horizontal box HB perhaps, horizontal box, I don't know. And then let's call it live, because the one it's the live, and we make another one. You can see this one is my live and this one is my high score. So in this case, now after we go here on the left side to this horizontal box, now we go down to the images here, image, and then to the text. First the image, we select the image section, and then we go here in details panel to the brush. The brush here will set up our, there we can set up our image. For example, you have not to use our image, but I use our image, and you can see this herd I took from this runner creator. Of course, you can create this kind of stuff your own in a third-party software, or you get it from other assets in-game, other games and something like that. But I get it from this other game, from this 3D creator, and I use it. And this one we have to scale, of course, a little bit. Let's make here fill. So what I did is I have here on top size, I set it to fill, and the other one, the text one, I set to fill here as well. So you can see this one will be similar. But now this first one, we can see if we like it. If not, we can change it. But let's go to the text section and let's write here text. This is just the default text, which we will change. We will set this manually, but right now let's write a 2 so that we can adjust it. And you can see this 2 is not perfect, so we have to scale it a little bit. Let's make it a little bit bigger, perhaps to 50 perhaps. Let's make it 50. That's okay. And now we set it a little bit in the middle here on the down. There is a justification. We can use this one. Yes, this one looks okay. And this one, if you want, you can say, hey, there is no padding here on the core sides, which means here on top, if you select this image again, you can go to padding and let's set it 10, and then it's a little bit more little, perhaps 10 it's too much. Let's set it to 3 or something like that. Okay, you can adjust this. This is again adjustment, which I skip here. I compile save. That looks all right. So I do this one with this high score as well. Let's do this. And the high score I use, this was a horizontal box. This high score I use a vertical box because I write high score on top and high score number on the bottom. So let's use here a vertical box. I write vertical or a little bit, and then here pops up the vertical box. I put this here. We can make this so like we want. And here again, the anchor on this side. I go here on the right side to anchor. It's on this side as well. So they are pointing to the side, same side. And now I can throw in what I need there. I need there again text, and I need there again a text, two texts. But the one text is not a variable. The other text need to be a variable, which we will change because this high score we need to change or bind it, but we will see it. And yeah, let's throw in two text things. So here's a text. You can write again text here. It will pop up as well. And there are different kind of text, by the way. There is a large text box with more lines, but in my case I need just one line. You can read this a little bit more if you need another text. In my case I just use this text. This is the first block on top. This is the second block on the bottom. And before I go on, I select again this vertical box and let's give it a name. Let's write it to vertical box underscore. Let's call it score. High score. High score. That's okay. And compile save so far. And now we make here the same. Here I select now in this horizontal box the first text. Then I go here on the right side and I set again fill. The same thing with the other one, fill. And then I have to adjust this a little bit. And then I go here to this justification in the middle. The same thing goes for the other one. And now I give it a default text. This one I call high score. High score. And the other one I will write a default value which I replace later, and let's write 1000. And then yeah, I think then we can change a little bit the size so that it's a little bit bigger. So let's make it here 35. Yeah, that looks good. The same goes for this one perhaps. 35. And yeah, the color we can change here as well. Let's see which color I took here. Blue. Yeah, you can take which color you like. I just throw in now a blue. Anything like a blue is this one. Okay. And let's write here a color. The coin color I make like the score color here because they should be similar. Here the color as well. This live color I make again like the coin color. So they are all time the same. Must be not the same, but it can be the same. That is again style thing that you make it like you think it looks good. In my case, I just make it so that I can use it. And yeah, this one here we have just tested if you like this. And one more thing before we test it, you can see I have here one more thing, and this is just an image, a background image, so that this one stood out a little bit. We can add this too, so that it makes a little bit darker the background. So right now we have no background. It will be the background whatever where we called it. So in this case, that's why I add faster image here to stand out. So let's make here again an image. You can see it, here is an image, and by default it's white. That's okay. But when you make something like that, it's very important that you use what? The set order. What is the set order? First of all, let's select this image, press F2, let's call it background, just background here. Of course you can call it a little bit, describe it a little bit more precise than me, but here the background image we don't want white. But before we go there, here was the one very important thing. You select the image, what you have, you go here to the details, and first of all, here is something called a set order. The set order means if this image is in front of the other things which you added or behind it. In our case, we want it behind it because we want to see the score and something like that. And you can see right now, I don't know why, I can't see my other image here, which has probably a lower set order. And we write here a set order by -1, should be okay. And you can see now this one pops up. This has anyhow also a set order, but that's very important. So the next thing is this white color. We don't want it, or perhaps you want it, but I don't want it. So I make it first black, but I want not black as well. I want to make it more transparent a little bit, right? So so that I can. It is just an indicator that there is something, so something like that. And I changed here, first I select black and then I change just the alpha, which makes it so that you can look through. All right, this is that, set this okay. And I think that's cool. Before we go on to add the next part here, we can test it, but when I start this one, it pops up the other one which I created. So we have to set up this, we have to call this created widget, and we can call it in many places, but what I do is selecting in the game mode, because the game mode is setting up anyway many things. So I go to my scene, I go to my world settings, here's the game mode, and the game mode is anyway, like I said, there I set many things up. This one we set already up. You can see it starts here the camera, and then it sets the camera, and then it's what's this here, and here we set up the show mouse, and now we set also spawn the widget, and I already made this one here, but I show you how to make this from scratch. So what you do is then you find the right position, in my case here, then we use again create widget, and here we create it, and then select the widget which we just created. In my case it was, okay, that was bad. Now I have two widget which called gameplay, because I have it in two different places. Perhaps I should call the other one differently. Let me change this fast. This was the other one, yes, gameplay one. So then we have let's make here fast this one as well, and save all. And now that should be now clear. So again, here's create widget, and now we have gameplay one. It's not, this is the one which I created, widget blueprint gameplay. So you select this, and this is selected, and then we adjust this to the viewport from here out, and add to viewport. Add viewport. This is so standard, and then we comment this and write add yes, create gameplay widget. Now let's write it so widget, and that's it. That's actually just calling the widget. So my game mode, when it starts up, and we know the game mode is all time starting up at the start of the game because I have set it up here, then it will add this one, and we have a problem. So this one worked anyhow, this one worked, but here my background is not working. And what is this problem? It's the actor. I have not set the actor probably. What is the anchor, not actor, anchor. Sorry. You can see when I select now my background, the anchor, which is this one thing here, it's set on the other side, and that's why I had this problem. And now I set it to this side, so it's aligned with all the other ones. And now I compile, save, and you can see when I start, yes, it looks better. But there is one more thing what I want to make here. This almost design finished. For at least for test purposes finished. You can optimize this later more. And the next thing is this middle thing. What is this middle thing? This is that what we set up already when we created our first widget of this game. It was in main menu widget. I reuse this here, and important is that we set the visibility at start invisible, and when we click here this pause button, that we set it to visible. And right now we are just adding this one, but I will not create all steps here again. What I'm doing, because we already created this one, I just copy that what I have and paste it here. What I mean with that, let me show you that. So this is the widget which where we are now. I'm going to, let me show you what I normally do is I go here to my widget. I go, okay, that was this main menu widget, that was this. Here is this main menu which we created, and you can see that is this menu, and it looks like this. And I want this one here. I want just use this one here again, because I don't want to make it again from scratch. And this main menu widget, it was video 1 or 2, I don't know, where we created it. We created this one in so-called pause menu holder, which is just a I think it is just a vertical box. You see, it's just a vertical box, and this one vertical box we will just set visible or not visible. So that's it. And all the other things is similar to the other things. We throw in a button, we throw in on the button a text so that we can click. Then we made here a spacer, and then we throw another button, and on the other button a quit. A text again where we write quit, and that's it. And instead of doing all this kind of stuff manually again, I just press here right click and write copy. Oh, not cut, that was cut. Control Z to make to go back one step. Again, here right click, copy, not cut. And now I copied this one, we can complete save. And now I go to my gameplay widget, and here I go to my canvas panel. I paste it in on my canvas panel. So I select this canvas panel and here paste, and here is that. Of course, I have to adjust this a little bit, and perhaps this is a little bit too, let's say this looks very too thick. Make it a little bit smaller. Let's make it a little bit smaller perhaps. But when I make this smaller, you can see that this text is not small. I have to adjust the text, so I select the text here. I go here to the right side and set it perhaps to, I don't know, 70. Can work. Yeah, let's do the same for this one, 70. Can work. And let's see the anchor here. The anchor stays in the middle. That's okay, I think. And yeah, that's it. And let's test this one more time. One more thing. It's not. Well, we select this pause menu holder, which I have now here. I go here to the right side, and now I check the visibility because, like I said, at the start, I want it not visible. And here, very important, we have here different options. We are not using the option hidden. And the reason for that is actually we have here two options to make to set the visibility, which is here, for example, a hidden or collapse. The hidden, it is just hiding this one, but it is still occupying, I think, this space here. And if you make collapse setting, it will hide this one, but this space is still available, and I think we should use this one, this collapse version. All right, so of course you can test this if hidden works as well, but normally this collapse version is better because it is not occupying this place here. Anything like that, I read this again in the documentation a little bit more in detail. But yeah, that's it. And when I test this one now, you can see it is not there because, like I said, it is not visible. But when I go here back, let's set it, for example, visible just for test purposes. Here, it's here. And then we have now to set up all things. That was our design actually. Design setup, in my case, very simple, straightforward, not too much in design spent, but that's enough for this demonstration, definitely. Yeah, what you can do in the last, of course, don't forget to submit what you changed, and so let's submit this to source control like all time. Created gameplay, gameplay widget design. That's okay, that's enough for test purposes. All right, and I submitted, I saved all this kind of stuff. And yeah, with that said, I stop this video, and in the next video I will go for the coding part of this widget. So we are still on the widget, but now we set up this buttons, and here perhaps this counter. We will not set up all things here because the high score needs also a setup of the save load game, which we have already talked, but I will make this in the next section, which is the gameplay coding section, where we have anyway reworked some parts of this gameplay. We have not set up all perfect, just the main basic parts. All right, with that said, if you have any questions, any complaints like old time, write in the comments, and see you in the next, and like all time, have fun.